How's it going, guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys another review. This review is going to be a little bit different compared to what we're used to. And the reason for that is because I have something very special here today, and I want to kind of review it as in-depth as possible and cover as many bases as I can in this review. So we're not only reviewing the film, we're reviewing the special features and the packaging as well. Kind of like the old Scream Factory, a closer look at reviews that I used to do. So this will be a closer look at, but this time it's not Scream Factory, it's Arrow Video. What I have here is the Society Blu-ray put out by Arrow Video USA, which a lot of you have already picked up, but I wanted to do my review of it. And first of all, I gotta say, I love the weight to this thing. It's really heavy, it feels very sturdy. I love that about it. So we still have it sealed here. We're gonna open it up, and I have a little pocket knife here that I'm just gonna carefully cellophane, if you will, and I'm just going to peel it off, and we have it completely open. Now, first thing that I want to note is there is sort of this card that hangs on it. This card actually has a brief write-up on the back of it. I almost don't like when releases do this because it feels like it's part of the release, yet it's not going to stay. It's going to get dinged up, it's going to get bent, and it's going to get all messed up, and it is taped on there a little bit. Actually, it's literally just a insert card. I kind of don't like when they do that. So let's get inside here. This is the slip box. It has the awesome Society melting flesh stuff on there. The first thing we have here is a awesome booklet, and I love the smoothness of this. Like, this feels like very good material, and it is a very thick booklet. Oh, it's actually a comic book. That is really cool. I guess this is a whole comic book on the film, and there's a lot of pages to it, guys. So this thing looks really cool. I actually didn't know that. I actually didn't do a lot of research on this release because I just wanted to check it out for myself and be fully surprised and invested. So I will actually read this comic book and review it after I watch the film. I'll let you guys know what the comic book's about. So it's called Society Party Animal, and it looks pretty cool. And then of course we have the Society Blu-ray case itself, and it is kind of one of those flip open cases. It has like some cool artwork to it. On the inside here we have, wow, the first thing we have, I actually didn't know this release had all this stuff. It's just a cool little like lobby card type thing. I mean, I'm just really kind of impressed with the overall packaging of this. This is actually my first Arrow release as well. Then we have another little lobby card thing here showing some of the films that Arrow's going to be releasing. We have Eaten Alive on there, and of course on the back it's Contamination, which I did do a review for. And then the final thing we have here on the little pocket, it's a little tricky to get out here, but we have a write-up of the film Society. This is really cool too. There's some pictures in there. I actually don't want to look at this stuff too much because I don't want to spoil the film for myself, but this is really cool stuff. And then on the inside of that we actually have is a 2-disc edition. One is a DVD and one is a Blu-ray. Really cool stuff there. So that is the breakdown of the Society box set slash release. Honestly, like, it just impresses me the amount of effort, just a little extra stuff. Like this little card, like it's not anything super special, right? But it's a nice little addition. It just feels like your release has more, and I think other companies should take note of that, because if anything, it makes you feel like a company really cares about the buyer, and they really want to go the extra mile in order to make them happy. And also they do price their releases a little bit higher, but as you can see, it's quality stuff. Society, from the year 1989, directed by Brian Usna, who of course directed the Reanimator sequels, Return of the Living Dead Part 3, the Dentist films, and of course Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 4. The film follows a teenager, Bill Whitman, who was played by Billy Warlock, who's actually the son of Dick Warlock, who played Michael Myers in Halloween 2. Billy is a teenager and the son of a prestigious family living in Beverly Hills who is very high class, and all of the people around him kind of get along in a way that he is not familiar to. He just feels a little bit odd. He's a little out there. He is popular, but he still feels like an outcast within his family and circle of friends. Even when he does something successful, he tries to fake it and act happy, but when it really comes down to it, he feels alienated from his family. Things take a sinister turn when he hears an audio recording from his sister's coming out party, in which he hears his family and friends take part in some sort of bizarre ritualistic orgy. So as Bill digs deeper and deeper into society, things get more bizarre and he can't determine what is real and what is in his head. Society is very well made with likable characters. You have this surrealistic type visual sense that you're seeing throughout the film. You're never sure what is actually happening and what is happening in the character's head. You also have this bizarre family that kind of just gives off this odd vibe, but it's weird because our lead character is the only one who is normal out of everybody that he encounters, and it really kind of makes you have this outsider feel while watching the film, and you can really relate to the main character. You really like the main character, and you're really interested into what the hell is going on and what it has to do with him. There's a lot of social commentary in this film, a lot of which is on classism and social circles, as well as puberty and feeling alienated from your family and friends, and truly feeling like an outsider at a time where you're not really sure what's happening to you and who you really are. You're trying to find yourself, and I think they really nail all of those different topics in the social commentary in this film. I love the body horror elements of this film all throughout the film. Now, there is a huge moment in the climax that is sort of your main piece of the film, but I think they did a great job setting it up early on with very subtle body horror where you're not really sure what's going on. You're not really sure if it's real or if it's in our character's head, and you find out in the climax of what's really going on, and it all makes it worthwhile because it's just crazy. A lot of great cinematography, great use of music in this opening title sequence. Director Brian Yuzna does a great job of setting up a mythology for this film. He creates a really interesting concept of society, but he doesn't give you it all, so you have to piece it together for yourself, and it really kind of adds to the mysterious nature of society. The only negative I have with this film is that I really feel like they kind of pushed the boundaries of acceptable comedy for me personally, my personal tastes. I do think it just went a smidge too far in certain sections. It is supposed to have this comedic tone to it, but I think it could have worked without it as well, because it kind of has these elements of something along the lines of Rosemary's Baby, and you know, it really is kind of sick and twisted. It deals with incestual themes and things like that. It's a great movie. I really enjoyed it. I was super surprised by it. I was so into it from the very beginning. I think it's set up very well in its early stages of development. It kind of develops into this huge reveal in the end, and it really works. Overall, I give it about a 9 out of 10. Loved Society. First up, for the special features on Arrow Video's release of Society, we have a feature-length commentary featuring director Brian Yuzna, as well as a moderator who is constantly feeding him questions so it doesn't lose its pacing. This is a really good commentary. Yuzna really kind of delves into society and what it is, why it exists, how it exists, and his struggles with making it all make sense in the development of this film. He did get a script for it and kind of peppered in his own ideas. He talked about the incestual themes a lot and what that meant to audiences in the 80s, as well as the 80s in general, and how this film really encapsulated a lot to do with the 80s. He talked about the actors. He talked about how he pulled off certain shots, especially the more tricky shots like the special effects shots, and of course the very end scene. He talks in great detail on what that meant, what it was, how it was pulled off. He, talked a lot about his career, a lot about the actors involved. Just a very insightful commentary. I felt like I learned a lot about the film, and it even raised a little bit more questions on what society really is and what was the point of it, as well as making you more aware of the social commentary that is going on in the film. And I'm not even sure Brian Usna himself knows everything that he was trying to say. It was kind of on a subconscious level, and you learn a lot of that from the commentary. Great commentary. Next up for special features, we have Governor of Society. This is a featurette featuring Brian Usna. It runs about 17 minutes long. Brian Usna really kind of starts out talking about his early career stuff working with Reanimator, how he really wanted to make movies and he kind of wanted to be in charge, but he didn't know really what position makes you in charge. Is it the producer that makes you in charge? Is it the writer that makes you in charge? So he kind of found out that it was the director that makes you in charge. So he kind of wanted to try directing. He talks about the early script reading of Society and what he wanted to change about the script, and his collaborations on, you know, kind of reworking the script, as well as, you know, the special effects scenes, what he was thinking during the giant shunt scene, and, you know, the climax of the film. Really kind of an interesting little 17-minute featurette there. Brian Usna definitely covers a lot of bases, but a lot of it is stuff that he kind of mentions in the commentary as well. So maybe if you wanted to skip out on the commentary, maybe you're not a big commentary person, you can kind of get the same information from this little featurette. Next up, we have a featurette running 23 minutes. It's called Master of the Hunt, which features interviews from Billy Warlock, Devin DeVasquez, Tim Bardell, and Ben Meyerson. This featurette's one of the cooler out of the bunch. It's very interesting because we're kind of hearing from the actors in the film, and they all kind of had something special about them that made them right for the film, yet they didn't really have very successful and lengthy careers after Society. Society kind of bombed, and we learned that through the featurette as well. Billy Warlock is actually very charming. He's fun to listen to. He kind of holds your attention very well, and you can kind of see why he was cast in Society. He has some good stories about kind of being a baby on set and not really wanting to participate in all the gross stuff, and didn't want to participate in the lovemaking scene. And you know, just an interesting account of the events that happened through his eyes. Devin DeVasquez is also very interesting. She still looks very beautiful, by the way. Her story was interesting. She worked for Playboy, how she got casted in the film, and talking about some of the special effects sequences and how they were pulled off. It was pretty cool hearing her point of view as well. The other two are fine as well. Very just interesting account of events dealing with this film. Next up, we have Champion of the Shunt, running about 21 minutes. This is a interview with makeup effects artist from Surrealistic Makeup Effects, Screaming Mad George. This guy is very entertaining. It's cool to hear from a makeup effects artist anytime they talk, really get inside the mindset of somebody who makes art in such a unique way. And this guy in particular has a very interesting style. Surrealistic makeup effects is kind of his thing. He really kind of goes for the weird and bizarre, the surrealistic stuff that really gets your mind working, and stuff that nightmares are made of. It was very interesting hearing him talking particularly about his experience on Society and all the different scenes, like the butt head and the master shunting at the end of the film, and, you know, his thought process through that, and as well as just his style in general. He also shows us some of the pieces that he had been working on lately. All really, really cool stuff. It's always awesome to hear the makeup effects guys talk about their experiences on the film and kind of their thought process and how they come up with this stuff. Next up, we have a Q&A with Brian Usna. This was a Q&A that took place at the Celluloid Screams Festival in October of 2014. It runs about 39 minutes. This is more of the same. Brian Usna once again walks us through the process of how Society came about. He once again talks about the political themes, the classism themes, the incestual themes, the controversies, the kind of flop of the film, as well as his process of becoming a director, and, you know, after producing many films like Reanimator and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, how he really wanted to just try his hand in directing, and that's how he came about and directed Society. Talks about the popularity of the film and overall just his experiences with the film. It's kind of the same as the first main features featuring Brian Usna, the commentary, and the featurette from earlier on the disc. So it's kind of about the same. There's not a whole lot of questions. He's kind of long-winded with his answers, which is fine, but he does cover some of the same topics, but he does add a little bit to it and explains a little bit more in depth as well. After that, we have Brian Usna's Society premiere. This is only a 2-minute clip, and it's from the original 1989 premiere of Society when it landed in London. Not the most amazing thing in the world, but it's a nice little bonus. After that, we have the trailer, and it is just that. It is the trailer for the film, the theatrical trailer. I gotta respect how the trailer really doesn't give away the main concept of the film, which I like when trailers do that. Unfortunately, they do not do that anymore. They pretty much give away everything in modern times. And finally, for the special features on the disc, we have a Screaming Mad George music video, which is very cool. It runs about 7 minutes long. It's not my type of music per se. I'm not really sure exactly what the music genre is or who's even behind it, if it's Screaming Mad George himself or what, but it is a very interesting video. It's really cool. There's a lot of surrealistic stuff in it and a lot of nightmare logic in the video, and it's really cool because we get to see a lot of Screaming George's effects that he showed us earlier in one of the featurettes on the disc. Really cool stuff there as well. The booklet contains a nice write-up on Society. It's very brief. They kind of talk about what was going on in the horror world before Society came out, what happened after Society came out, and just the process of Society coming together in a brief little write-up by a film critic. And then it also has a nice little description on the process of creating the transfer. It's very brief, but it leaves you just with enough information to feel satisfied. Finally, we have the comic book, which is 56 pages. The comic was originally released in 2 issues in the year 2003. This is a reproduction of Society Party Animal, which was the, I guess, official sequel to Society. It takes place a couple years later after the incidents of Society. We're following Billy as he is trying to get revenge on his family and the society that was his hometown. He meets up with old friends like Milo and his girlfriend, and we reveal some twists and kind of piece together the plot a little bit. It was kind of cool. I'm not really big into comic books. I found it was really hard to read at first. I didn't really know which line, which text box to read first, but I got the hang of it after a short while. There is one cool thing. It's kind of narrated in the beginning and end by a DJ on a radio station who's talking to Billy, kind of like Psycho 4 or something like that, or The Fog, and I thought that was pretty cool. It reads pretty well once you get used to it. But overall, I'm not the biggest fan of comic books, but this was a really cool, nice little addition. And if you really kind of had a little wondering about some of the plot holes or maybe things left unsaid in the original film, they did an okay job at, kind of explaining them in this comic book sequel. Those of you wondering about the transfer, it is a very solid transfer, probably around the 4 out of 5 range. Very solid. Not the most amazing in the world, but definitely a good transfer. And that about wraps it up for Society. I reviewed everything I possibly could. This is a great release. Everything from the awesome presentation with the box art, the contents of the release, as well as the special features and transfer. Everything is top notch here. Great film as well. Highly recommend picking this up. It is limited, so grab it while you can. It's only at about $25 on Amazon.com right now for this Blu-ray edition, so get it before they're gone. Thank you, Arrow Video, for supplying me with the review copy. You guys are awesome. Society rocks. Peace out.